If you've clicked on this video knowing my face but not recognizing the channel name, you're not in the wrong place. This channel was previously called Insert Literary Pun Here. I did recently just finish my grad school program and I am still making book videos. Actually, for a few months now I've been preparing a new phase of the channel. The main takeaway is that if things go to plan, new videos will start appearing next week on Sunday, December 1st. If things go to plan always feels like breaking some kind of fourth wall with your future self. Like, I don't know, did it go to plan, girl? If you're new here, I love that. Your timing is really good. My name is Jennifer and here's some background on how I got to a point where I've been very inactive on YouTube for a while now, but also am still on YouTube. Some people may reasonably be wondering why that is. Like, it's kind of nice for you to pop up here and there, but also why? From mid-2016 to mid-2018, this was a classic book channel that started with the name Insert Literary Pun Here because I couldn't think of a channel name. It's almost like I've never been great at marketing myself. I focused mostly on reviewing new releases. It's interesting to think back on it. I mean, I did a ton of traditional single book reviews just on camera instead of written out. Other than that, I structured things like a public version of a personal reading diary. I highlighted almost every book I read. I followed book prizes closely, those sorts of things. In 2018, I started working in publishing, and since it was now my job to advocate for specific new releases, I couldn't just go about like reviewing whatever new releases I wanted, you know? So this then changed into something like a reading check-in channel is how I think of it. How is my reading going? How am I feeling about my reading year? Here's how I'm managing my to-be-read pile. Videos were typically not as in-depth as they'd been before, and everything was, you know, chiller and more companionable, I guess. In late 2021, I left my publishing job in preparation for going to grad school, and that was a time on here, kind of this little window when I went back to doing a little bit of reviewing, some thematic wrap-ups, and that was also the last year that I did a favorite books of the year video. It was 2021. Wild. And then over the last 2 years when I was completing my master's, it turns out I only had the capacity to post like 2 general life check-ins a year. Here are my studies, things are going well, here's a book. After all this time, and after taking some time away from being a public reader, things have crystallized for me, and I now have a really clear idea of how I want to talk about books and why I want to talk about them publicly. I've been muddling through on instinct for a while, and there can be value in that too, I think, but I don't feel at all muddled anymore. It's just really nice to have my brain furniture arranged. The curtains are hung, the pictures are on the walls, like everything is unpacked and has its place. This will in some ways be an entirely new phase of book videos for me. I say in some ways because what I did essentially was to go back through my old videos and to think about which ones were the most meaningful to me years later and why that was. And I'm making more videos like those while turning the dial up on the quality. So I have a big video coming on a big classic author. I have some videos about Central and Eastern European literature, including a starter kit. I also have a focus on nonfiction with some major history titles. There's a video about a contemporary Nobel Prize-winning author that's coming. And then I also, as a throwback, have a video in the works about the worst books that I've read in my time on YouTube. That's the sneak peek, and I am curious if some of you can guess any of the specifics. I haven't given you much to work with, but you might be able to guess the 2 author spotlights, maybe? As part of this project, I've been improving my sound quality, improving my image quality, making things a little more interesting visually, given that this is a visual platform, but still trusting that what I have to say is the most distinct thing I can offer, so everything will look nicer, but you'll still be able to, I don't know, cook and vacuum and have the video on in the background without like missing anything critical. What's been funny is that in order to get this up to even a certain like basic standard of quality, I'm having to experiment with all kinds of things that are new to me. A new camera and microphone setup, new lighting, new filming background, learning how to do some overhead footage, different editing software, new thumbnails, all of it. I'm basically developing what for me are new skills, which are like level 1 for most people in their first year of YouTube. It's been so humbling and so comically time-consuming. You know abstractly that problems will come up, but when the next specific problem comes up, it's like, well, I guess this is the next 2 hours of my life? Figuring out how to get my plug and go external drive to plug and then go. I've loved the energy of woman in her bedroom talks to her phone camera that I've always had on here. I think part of me will always love YouTube for that specific kind of thing. And I think it was compatible with the types of videos I was making before. It was like, hi, here's the situation, here's my current stack of books, those glimpses into other people's day-to-day reading. For me now, it's about taking that enthusiasm and that knowledge and making everything more polished and more focused. The vibe will be a little more professional because that's how I feel about myself in a way that has nothing to do with going into an office and carrying business cards. I myself am just more centered and more professional intrinsically than I was before. And that's why I've changed my channel name to be an actual name and not something that sounds like a 2012 Tumblr profile. You know, it was time. It's been time. Although it's important to say that this still won't be my primary job. Like, I just can't make meaningful videos at the rate that would be necessary to have a livable income. And even if I could, I wouldn't want to. Like, YouTube creator burnout is very real and very intense. An interesting emotional element to it all is that I'm putting in a significant amount of work behind the scenes, all while knowing that these early videos will probably struggle. Semi-washed up old channel that erratically posts that now has a new name with no built-in recognition is, it's a recipe for algorithmic disaster. One of my friends recently said that whatever video I put out first will be a sacrifice to the algorithm gods, and that first video that's coming out next week is something I really care about, so man, you win some, you lose some. It's unfortunate for me personally, but also fair enough. The algorithm is a funny thing. When people talk about it, it somehow takes on all these like mysterious and challenging qualities of both humans and machines. From what I've observed, there are these cases when the algorithm seems to function in this like bizarrely punitive way. People taking breaks for like parental leave or for sickness or for bereavement even, then have these consequences in terms of the trajectory and the viability of their channels. Then you have your people who go from posting 3 times a week to twice a week, or twice a week to once a week. So it is a significant decrease, but they're still posting really regularly. And still, then there's this phenomenon that their videos are not going out to their subscribers as much as they were before. YouTubers can feel kind of left out in the cold. Anyway, none of that applies to me. I'm an unambiguous case of the algorithm responding logically to my consistent lack of content and quality. And grad school, time-wise, was more than a full-time job for a lot of it, so I'm not criticizing myself. What I am saying, actually, is that I'm surprised by how totally not off a cliff things have been in the last few years. I've been lucky. I was looking back through the comments of my last video about my thesis, and I was just hit with this wave of how unbelievably lovely everyone has been over the last 2 years, like just so supportive of my schooling, what it meant for me, and the knowledge I was gaining. And now I want to take some of that knowledge and bring it into these videos in a way that's sharp and useful and fun. I mean, the kind of fun that I have. That's my quick overview of how I arrived at this moment and of what's next. Videos are coming. I'm a little anxious about everything. You know, when you've been planning something and then it goes out into the world and you're like, wow, I didn't anticipate that element of this, but I have to release my grip on them. I have to set the videos free. This is the first time in a while that I've actually thought about the possibility of reaching a new group of people. There's the potential for this thing to grow in a slow, organic, unpredictable way all over again, or to not grow at all and remain this small community of people who love the types of books that I read. Most importantly, for me at least, I've designed this overhaul so that the work itself has been hugely valuable for me. The books I've been rereading, all the writing I've done. I've assigned myself the best work I could think of. I already miss having homework assigned. In terms of the self-promotion thing, I know I'm supposed to like rally the troops and urge you to watch all of my videos, but I don't know. I just have never been able to do that. I think you should watch exactly what you want to watch. Okay, here's what I will say. I hope that some of the books I've chosen to feature will be interesting to you. And if that is the case, I would love to have you back. Thank you for watching, and I mean it this time when I say that I will see you soon for another video.